Football is played on a green field with standard dimensions of 105 by 68, and some soccer players have always stayed within those lines throughout their careers. They don't go out of bounds, they just let their ankles do the talking. Others have long forgotten those boundaries. The story that starts in a humble village grows in a city. It reaches the hearts of millions. His field is not only stadiums, but also streets, hospitals, schools. If geography is destiny, the destiny of people like him goes far beyond being just a soccer player. Today we are diving into the inspiring story of one of the most powerful characters of the football world, Mohamed Salah. Mohamed Salah. Today we can only understand how much this name means to the Egyptian people through the following examples. In the 2018 presidential elections, around 1 million people crossed out the names of the current candidates and wrote the name on the ballot paper. Of course, these votes were invalidated. However, if Mohamed Salah had been an official presidential candidate, he would certainly have received more votes than the opposition candidate Moussa Mustafa. The Egyptian Ministry of Education included Mohamed Salah's story in primary and secondary school textbooks. This decision was made with the aim of inspiring younger generations, not only with Salah's achievements on the soccer field, but also with his exemplary personality. In 2019, Salah was named one of Time magazine's 100 most influential people in the world. This list is a prestigious platform that includes leading figures from the world of art, sports, politics, and business. Salah was one of only 5 athletes on the list, along with LeBron James, Tiger Woods, Cutler Samana, and Alex Morgan. Moreover, Salah is now a global figure big enough to attract tourists to Egypt, if not to the pyramids of Giza. The village of Nagrig, where he was born, is no longer just an agricultural area. It is also a popular destination for those who want to trace the footsteps of Mohamed Salah. Many tourists traveling to Egypt take day tours from Cairo to see the places where Salah spent his childhood. It is possible to follow the traces of Salah's miraculous journey on the streets of Nagrig, the house where he lived, the school where he studied, the first club where he started playing soccer. All have pictures of Salah on their walls. Today, almost every child in Egypt dreams of having a story like his, and this is where that story began. Mohamed Salah was born on June 15, 1992, in the village of Nagrig in Bassoun, Egypt. He grew up in a modest family that relied on agriculture for its livelihood. He was not very good at studies and spent more or less all his time playing ball, both in the streets and in the halls. The story of Salah's discovery dates back to a futsal match. A scout sent by the El Mouklu football club to watch another boy was so impressed by Salah that he brought him to the club, and Mohamed signed a professional contract at the age of 14. But this is only the fancy-sounding part of the story. The distance between the village of Nagrig, where Salah lived, and El Moukavlan's club facilities was about 100 kilometers. In other words, the young man had to spend 4 hours on the road every day, 2 hours there and 2 hours back, in order to continue playing soccer. Life always throws obstacles in our way to discourage us from our goals. If you are 14 years old, this choice is more of a choice between growing up and staying a child. Unfortunately, we live in a world where children have to grow up early, and Salah's choice had to be the same. Every day after school, he received pocket money from his father, just enough for travel and a single snack, leaving him little time to do anything but travel, train, and sleep. But he was still happy. He had a growing passion for the game, because he was really good at it. If you share this passion for soccer, consider subscribing and join us for more stories. He played left back. Salah had an innate speed that was way above average. Once he stepped on the gas, no one could catch him, but his position prevented him from realizing his full potential. While he had a knack for getting from one end of the field to the other quickly, he often didn't have enough energy to kick the ball. One of the youth team coaches noticed this and had the idea to move him up front. That brilliant idea turned Salah into the academy's brightest player. By the age of 17, he was part of the first team. It didn't take long for him to secure his place in the starting 11. He had become one of the most valuable players at his club and in the Egyptian league, and it seemed that nothing could stop this super fast footballer, except of course for reasons off the pitch. Beginning in 2010 in Tunisia and spreading rapidly across the Middle East and North Africa, a chain of mass protests demanding social change and freedom is known as the Arab Spring. In Egypt, this movement culminated in Tahrir Square in 2011. After months of protests, 30-year President Hosni Mubarak was ousted and a new political era began in the country. In the midst of this turmoil, on February 1st, 2012, after the Al Ali Al Masri match at the Port Said Stadium, a tragic event would take place that would go down in history as the Port Said tragedy. The incompetence of the security forces led to the death of 74 people and the injury of hundreds more in the chaos. This tragedy showed how the political and social turmoil in the country was reflected in sports and led to the indefinite suspension of football leagues in Egypt. For Salah and many other players in the Egyptian league, a difficult period of uncertainty has begun. While the majority wanted to pursue their careers abroad, their clubs still expected them to pay a fee for their services. Some were forced to decide to retire at an early age. Salah had an opportunity to keep his hopes alive: the 2012 London Olympics with the Egyptian national team. This allowed a group of young players to continue training and playing soccer. In preparation for the Olympics, a friendly against Basel of Switzerland changed his life forever. Salah came on in the second half and scored 2 goals to give Egypt a 4-3 victory. "I have never seen such a fast footballer in my life," Bernard Häusler, then president of Basel, would say after the match. After a few practice sessions at Basel, Salah left no question marks, and in April 2012, he signed an official 4-year contract and started his European adventure quietly, from the heat of Egypt to the frost of Switzerland. When Mohamed Salah first set foot in Europe at the age of 20, he was in for a cultural and climatic shock. This is a transition that many African footballers experience. Sadio Mané, for example, who transferred from Senegal to France at the age of 19, went through the same thing. Although they were still unaware of each other, these two footballers, who went through similar difficulties, would later make a fateful alliance. "I woke up one morning, and when I went outside, I saw snow for the first time in my life," Salah says. "I didn't know what to wear, I didn't know how to feel, and of course it wasn't just about adapting to everyday life." He faced the same unfamiliarity on the pitch. He had to train and play football in this new climate he was not used to. The language barrier was another big problem. Salah, whose English was very limited when he first transferred to Basel, was not fluent in the languages commonly spoken in Switzerland, such as French, German, or Italian. Already an introverted youngster, he struggled to communicate with his teammates and coaches. "We could only communicate in the language of soccer," Salah says. Adapting to social life was another major issue. As a devout Muslim, Salah found it difficult to choose where to eat. Most of the time, he prepared his own food at home. The difference in his eating habits with his teammates and the fact that he doesn't drink alcohol made it difficult for him to mingle with them off the pitch. In fact, for the first few months, his only social activity was training. His days revolved around training, eating, and sleeping. You know what they say: hardship is where beauty is tested by the sweat of your brow. If he needed to be a little bored today to become a great soccer player in the future, he could do it. All he needed was an opportunity with his new team, and he worked hard for it. His technical director at the time, Murat Yakin, described Salah as follows: "He is a very humble, very modest person. He is mentally very strong and only focused on football. He is not interested in other things. His willingness to learn and work is great. When he starts scoring goals, he probably won't be with us anymore." This last sentence from his coach was perhaps a small criticism of Salah. As a footballer endowed with super athletic abilities, the part of his game he needed to sharpen was definitely his scoring ability, and he was going to do it. Thanks to his consistency, he quickly gained the trust of Murat Yakin, and in his first season, he played in 50 official games, scoring 10 goals and winning the first title of his career. The following year, he had opportunities that would bring him worldwide recognition, and he didn't turn them down. In the Champions League, he scored in both games against Chelsea, with whom he was drawn in the same group, earning the admiration of another powerful figure in the football world. Jose Mourinho said of the Egyptian, "Liverpool were about to sign Salah, but I personally insisted on his transfer, and we convinced him to come to Chelsea." In January 2014, Mohamed Salah moved to the Blues for £11 million and made his Premier League debut. Yet there was something that no one, not even he himself, realized. In time he would become a legend here, but his time had not yet come. If adapting to Switzerland was difficult, adapting to the island was doubly difficult. The language barrier would come into play here too. As scientifically proven, lack of daylight reduces the body's production of serotonin. This has a negative effect on mood and can lead to depressive moods. The constant overcast, rainy climate and lack of daylight may have deepened the loneliness of this young man who was already far away from his family. The pace of the Premier League, the demands of Mourinho, and the struggle to make a place for himself in a squad full of world stars, Salah became even more withdrawn. He didn't make the most of his already limited minutes. According to Jose, he was still not ready for the physicality and pace of this place. The following year, his minutes dwindled even more, and it was time for the Egyptian to say goodbye early. In February 2015, he was loaned to Fiorentina, and in half a season, he helped the Florentines to 4th place in Serie A with his goals. Chelsea, on the other hand, were eager to sign new attacking players every summer, and his hopes of returning to London and breaking into the team were fading. On the other hand, his performances in half a season in Serie A had led to more suitors in Italy. The following summer, Roma were the most serious buyers for the player and took the Egyptian on loan with an option to buy. At the age of 23, Salah was slowly leaving the youth ranks and needed to stabilize his performances in order to be promoted to the next level. Fortunately, he met someone in the capital who would give his career a significant boost. Luciano Spalletti, who took over from Rudi Garcia as Roma manager in January 2016, treated the Egyptian like a teacher from day one. Thanks to his speed and dribbling ability, he never had a problem getting into position. But his final touches were always a bit lacking. He learned from Spalletti that it's not enough to go fast, it's just as important to break in the right place. Thanks to him, I learned how to finish off offensive actions, Salah says. I used to get into positions, but I couldn't finish. With Spalletti, I improved my finishing. It wasn't only his finishing that Italy gave him. The Egyptian, who also improved his tactical discipline, was no longer just a fast winger, but a complete offensive weapon, and this transformation soon bore fruit. In the 2015 to 2016 season, Salah scored 14 goals in Serie A and played a key role in Roma's third-place finish in the league. At the end of the season, without much thought, the Roma management exercised their option to buy Salah and officially signed him from Chelsea. For the ardent Roma fans, this was of course great news. The bad news is that Salah will only be here for one more year. In his second season in the capital, he led his team to a fierce title fight, with Roma finishing in second place, just 4 points behind champions Juventus. With the Yellow-Reds so close to the Scudetto for the first time since the days of Francesco Totti, it's not hard to imagine how badly they wanted the Egyptian to stay. But Salah had a career season that season, scoring double figures in both goals and assists, and winning the African Footballer of the Year award. When a player can do that in one of the toughest leagues in the world, like Italy, the doors open wide for him, even those that had previously been slammed in his face. In the summer of 2017, Salah was flying back to the island to build his own kingdom. When he returned to the island as a player who had already tried and failed in the Premier League, the 42 million euros Liverpool paid for this transfer didn't seem to make much sense to people. Even Jurgen Klopp is said to have prioritized the signing of Julian Brandt over Salah. But sporting director Michael Edwards was so impressed with Salah's performance in Rome that he managed to convince Klopp. We can't be sure what they expected from him at the start, but optimistically I think they were hoping for Salah to reach double-digit goal figures. They were going to get a lot more than that. Jurgen Klopp candidly admitted, "I can't say I expected such a strong start from him. Salah was like a child when he played for Chelsea. Now he is very developed both physically and mentally. His confidence has grown tremendously. Maybe because he was a bit out of the spotlight in Serie A, people didn't see his rapid development. But no matter how much a footballer develops, to come in and dominate the Premier League in a single season, no, that was absolutely exceptional." Mohamed Salah returned to the Premier League as top scorer in the 2017 to 2018 season. With 32 goals, he overtook the likes of Luis Suarez, Cristiano Ronaldo, and Thierry Henry to become the top foreign player to score the most goals in a season. But it was not only Salah who exceeded expectations. That season, Liverpool eliminated Manchester City in the Champions League to reach the final, and Salah led the way with 10 goals in 13 games. Unfortunately, there are two memorable moments from the 2018 final for Liverpool, and both involve tears. One from Mohamed Salah, who dislocated his shoulder in a tackle with Sergio Ramos, and the other from Loris Karius after the scandalous goals conceded. All in all, Salah had a dream season at Liverpool, but the finale was not quite what he had hoped for. The injury also cost him his first, and so far, only World Cup in his career, Russia 2018, where he was out of form and couldn't prevent their elimination at the group stage. His second consecutive African Footballer of the Year award was a small consolation. If this Liverpool team was a project, then the missing pieces needed to be in place to win trophies. Mohamed Salah was the missing piece of the offense, and with his arrival, Jurgen Klopp continued to build on that by creating a very cohesive attacking line of Salah, Mane, Firmino. After the defensive move for Virgil van Dijk, it was clear that the goalkeeper was the last missing piece to be completed for the final in Kiev. With the signing of Alisson Becker that summer, the puzzle was now complete. They reached the Champions League final in 2 consecutive seasons, a feat few teams in history have ever achieved. Their miraculous comeback against Messi's Barcelona in the semi-finals was perhaps unlike any other team in history. In the final against Tottenham, Salah's goal in the second minute changed the score, and the Reds held on to their advantage throughout the match to lift Europe's biggest trophy. Next up was the championship trophy they had been looking forward to for the last 30 years. Klopp's team, who won a dominant title in the 2019 to 2020 season by collecting 99 points, didn't even allow it to be a race. It's hard to overestimate how much this means to the fans and the club. Few of us have ever had to wait patiently for something for 30 years. That's why this team, and Salah in particular, holds a special place in the hearts of the city of Liverpool. Since his arrival, the King of Egypt has become one of Anfield's favorite songs. Tens of thousands of Brits even chanted in unison for Salah. "If you score one more goal, I'll become a Muslim too." Salah had an indescribable feeling that they were bringing this longed-for trophy back to the city. Ever since I came here, I dreamed of winning the Premier League, and of course the Champions League. People used to ask me, if you had to choose one, which one would you choose? Now I have both, and it's unbelievable. Yes, he won perhaps the 2 biggest trophies possible with this team. But looking back on the Egyptians' Liverpool career today, it's fair to say that he won far less than he should have and was far less respected than he deserved. The Reds narrowly missed out on the title twice under Klopp. After 2019, they lost another Champions League final in 2022, where the player of the match was Real Madrid goalkeeper Thibaut Courtois, who made 9 saves. In an alternate universe, this team could have 3 Premier League and Champions League trophies each. Salah became top scorer 3 times in the process. He ranks 3rd on the list of top scorers in club history and 5th in Premier League history. He scored nearly 250 goals for Liverpool. He made more than 100 assists. In the same period, he reached the African Cup of Nations final, twice with the Egyptian national team. Despite being the first name that comes to mind when it comes to the continent's best player in recent years, he has not won the African Footballer of the Year award since 2018. Ballon d'Or, you say? Throughout his career, he was never one of the 3 finalists. Yet Salah was the only player who managed to survive in a team that had its ups and downs. Captain Jordan Henderson lost his old pace and had to leave the team. Milner, Wijnaldum, Fabinho, whoever was once the backbone of this great team couldn't stand the passage of time. Joel Matip hung up his boots. Andy Robertson was out of form. Even Virgil missed a full season through injury. But Salah was always here. No injuries, no fatigue, no rest. The perfect trio had broken up. While Firmino, his age, and Sadio Mane, who was once seen as a rival, have been playing in the Saudi League for the last 2 years, Salah is still here. Even Jurgen, who revolutionized this club and wrote his own chapter in Liverpool's history, left. A real scorer. Salah is still here when even Trent Alexander-Arnold, who came through the academy, has decided to leave to earn more. Now the flagman of the city of Liverpool is an Egyptian named Mohamed Salah, born in the village of Nagrig, Egypt and England, Nagrig and Liverpool, 3,600 kilometers as the crow flies. That's just physical distance. 2 completely different cultures, completely different languages, and completely different beliefs. but in both the city of Liverpool and the village of Nagrig, Salah's paintings adorn the walls. And you can't do that just by kicking a soccer ball, just by putting it between three posts. Jurgen Klopp said, "What you don't see and what you don't know is that his humanity is on a much higher level than as a footballer." Salah has never lost his commitment to the village of Nagrig, where he was born and raised. In 2017, he founded the Nagrig Charity Association, which has helped his village and the surrounding area. These include building a hospital, a school, and an ambulance unit. He also had a $450,000 treatment plant installed to meet the village's water needs, and collaborated with major charities to help rural children in Egypt gain access to education and healthcare through technology. During the COVID-19 pandemic, he contributed to the treatment of patients in his village by donating oxygen cylinders to Baysoun Central Hospital. He also donated food to needy families in the village. In 2022, he rebuilt the Abu Sef Church in Giza, which was destroyed in a fire in Giza, showing that although he is a Muslim, he is a partner not only to his faith community, but also to the pain of everyone, regardless of religion. He stood up for Gaza, where most of the football world was insensitive. He posted that we must stand together for all humanity and protect innocent civilians who are suffering. He has donated many times to aid organizations to be used for food, health, and basic humanitarian needs in Gaza. "I am not just a soccer player. I should be an inspiration to the children in my country," Salah says. Speaking on the night he was named one of the 100 most influential people in the world by Time magazine, he said, "We need to culturally change the way we treat women in the Middle East. Our women deserve more respect and more freedom." She was one of the rare figures to speak out in a country like Egypt, where traditional gender roles are so dominant. And she didn't just talk the talk. Her eponymous charity has established an education center in her hometown of Nagrig, which aims to increase girls' access to education and promote gender equality. Salah devotes much of his free time to charity work, not only in his home country, but also in the UK, where he lives with his family. He supports many social responsibility projects with the LFC Foundation, Liverpool's official charity. In 2022, he was identified as one of the 8 most generous people in the UK in the donation list, prepared by the Sunday Times, which evaluates people's donations in proportion to their income. However, his support does not only consist of financial aid. For example, in 2023, he shared his life experiences with young people at an event organized with refugees. In such events, he tries to inspire and motivate young people to achieve their goals. We often see him in the lead role in the social responsibility projects shared by the Liverpool YouTube channel. Sometimes you can see Salah cheering up a young Liverpool fan with a heart condition, sometimes participating in nature and environmental awareness events, and sometimes visiting and cheering up children at a local school. He is a quiet, introverted superhero without a mask or a cape. Like Salah, we continue to share stories of football both on and off the pitch. If you are active on social media, we would be happy if you follow us on Instagram. The Egyptian king will be here for a while longer to put the final touches to the story, to score more goals, win more trophies, and, if such a thing is possible, more love.